There now appears to be physical proof that Ben Shapiro is in fact paid to push propaganda. Now, I've been saying this forever. All you have to do is look at Ben Shapiro's donors like the Wilkes brothers or the Mercers, and then look at the actual commentary that he puts out, like pushing tax cuts for the richest people in America, which I'm actually going to get to near the end of this video. But the proof that we have doesn't have to do with the typical, the Kochs or the Wilkes or the Mercers, but in fact has to do with Paul Manafort. So I don't cover the Russia investigation all that much because it's, I think, covered enough in other places. But all you have to really know for this story is how Paul Manafort and his team pushed propaganda on Ben Shapiro. So this, first of all, this sort of gig is what a lot of people in media do. Not just conservatives, a lot of liberals do this as well. They get paid to push propaganda. They get their stories from certain sources that also happen to have money for them to cover these stories, and then they push this crap out there. Now, it's a great gig if you have no moral center, but if you're someone like me and a lot of people on the left that actually care to push reality out there and inform people, this kind of thing is completely disgusting. But let me get into it. So The Guardian broke down exactly what how Paul Manafort used Ben Shapiro. But just to sort of set it up, so Paul Manafort worked for the Kremlin-supported Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych in 2012 in his re-election campaign against Tymoshenko. So during this time is when this happened. Manafort's media operation included attacks on Hillary Clinton. In October 2012, Gates emailed Manafort and Friedman, flagging a piece written by the journalist Ben Shapiro. The Breitbart article criticized Clinton for her public support of Tymoshenko, who had recently made an electoral pact with the far-right Svoboda Party. The article cited a Jewish leader who accused Clinton anonymously of creating a neo-Nazi Frankenstein. Gates wrote, "Gentlemen, here is the first part of a series of articles that will be coming as we continue to build this effort. Alan, you get full credit for the Frankenstein comment." Okay, so just so you understand what's happening so far, Paul Manafort, Rick Gates, and Alan Friedman are working with Viktor Yanukovych and are trying to smear Hillary Clinton and the Obama administration at the time as a way to try and push Yanukovych over Tymoshenko, who Clinton had a relationship with in terms of a political relationship. Relationship was really the wrong word to use there. But so this is the setup here. So these three are now working with Ben Shapiro and pushing this out there. And as Rick Gates says there, Alan Friedman is responsible for the neo-Nazi Frankenstein quote that Ben Shapiro used in his piece. So here's more from Think Progress. Shapiro's Manafort-inspired piece was published by Breitbart, his former employer. In October 2012, under the headline, "Jewish Leaders Blame Hillary Clinton for Legitimizing Ukraine's Neo-Nazi Party," it contained the apparent neo-Nazi Frankenstein reference that Manafort's team took credit for in Gates' email. And this quote here is from Ben Shapiro's article in 2012. One prominent Jewish leader, who asked to remain unnamed, says that Clinton's New York Times op-ed ripping the current Ukrainian administration has, quote, created a neo-Nazi Frankenstein by issuing a de facto endorsement of Mrs. Tymoshenko and her choices. Shapiro has yet to comment on his connection to Manafort. So, there you go. Ben Shapiro pushed propaganda that was given to him by Rick Gates, Paul Manafort, and Alan Friedman. This is what he does. This is one example that has now been exposed of what Ben Shapiro does. He takes money, he takes these sorts of these quotes from these unnamed sources, and then he forms these articles and pushes these articles out there that he is paid to push out. So here's actually more on that. Here are the 3 articles that Ben Shapiro wrote to advance Paul Manafort's agenda on behalf of 2, Ukraine and Israel, foreign governments. 3 technically, since this helped Russia's puppet in Ukraine. How much were you paid for this, Ben Shapiro, and by whom? And as you can see there, Jay McKenzie quote tweets Naval Warfare, who found the 3 articles that Shapiro pushed right after the email about this very subject. So let me show you the articles here. So here's the one that was referenced in the email. Jewish leaders blame Hillary Clinton for legitimizing Ukraine's neo-Nazi party. Here's another one. This one from October 24th, 2012. Hillary sides with anti-Semitic Ukrainian opposition. And here's a third one from November 1st, 2012. ADL blasts Hillary blessed Ukrainian opposition for anti-Semitism. Now, you can't just chalk this up to coincidence, because we have the actual proof from the Rick Gates email, the proof of him referencing Ben Shapiro and the first article, and then these two other articles talking about the same thing that followed. Why would Ben Shapiro be talking about the Ukrainian election in 2012 unless he was paid to do so? That's why he was covering this. This is what a lot of these conservative commentators, and as I said, also some liberal commentators do as well. They simply get the money and then write the articles that they are paid to write. And if you need more proof of that, all you have to do is look at Ben Shapiro's recent behavior around this. So more from Naval Warfare. Interesting tidbit. Ben Shapiro scrubbed his timeline from the first article on October 24th, 2012 until the last article on November 2nd, 2012, and the days after of any reference to Ukraine, Tymoshenko, or the 3 articles he wrote. Consciousness of guilt? Yeah, consciousness of guilt and also a paid fraud. Now, as I referenced at the beginning of this video, this is not surprising if you know Ben Shapiro, know his work, and also know his donor network. So I've showed this graph before, but here's another look. So this was reporting done by TYT Investigates, and this is Ben Shapiro's massive donor work of millionaires and billionaires. If you go a little closer, you see the Mercers here, and when it comes to the Daily Wire, that was almost completely funded by the Wilkes brothers. Again, just a bunch of people with lots of money wanting to push their own agenda. And again, if you need more proof of that, here's a clip of Ben Shapiro talking about who needs tax cuts the most.
Okay, let's be real about this. The people who need the tax cuts the most in order to generate wealth in the economy are the people who are paying the taxes. That is disproportionately people at the top. It is very hard to give tax relief to people who are paying very little in taxes. I've done this tax breakdown before, so I don't see the need to do it again. But bottom line is that if you're in the lowest quintile of income earners in the United States, you're essentially paying zero taxes. When it comes to net taxes in the United States, meaning the benefits you get back from government, basically the only people paying taxes in the United States, net taxes in the United States, are people in the top 10% of income earners. Those are the people who are actually generating the jobs.
Is there anything left to say? This is what Ben Shapiro is paid to do. Now, I know people will be in the comments. Some conservative commentators or conservative viewers in the comments will be, oh, but TYT took a $20 million investment. It's the same thing. They're also corrupt. Are they? Is the Young Turks pushing tax cuts for the rich? Is that what they're doing? Because I haven't seen that. You'd think if millionaires and billionaires are giving you lots of money, that you would then have to push policy that they want. TYT isn't doing that. Other progressive commentators are not doing that. You know who's doing that? Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin, those people. They're doing that. And we can also see that they have a direct connection to these billionaires that are giving them money. This is all you need to know. So, someone like me who doesn't have a lot of money, I have no reason to lie to you. I could turn around today, turn into Ben Shapiro, start taking all this money and be a conservative commentator. You know what? I'm not going to do that because I wouldn't be happy doing that. I've been in jobs where I didn't enjoy the job, even though I was making enough money to live. But I left those jobs because I didn't like them. What I do now, fulfills me. This makes me happy. But there are people out there that are only driven by capital. They're only driven by the amount of money they're able to make. And that's exactly who Ben Shapiro is. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button below and consider becoming a patron at therationalnational.com/join. You get some extra content, but also, most importantly, you help support me in continuing to produce these sorts of videos.